Risotto is one of the first dishes I ever learned to cook, and it's still one of my favorites. It's a brilliant dish for you to cook for your friends to show how good you are at cooking. I think everyone thinks it's really tough, but if you follow these steps, it's super easy. So the first thing I'm gonna do is gonna chop an onion to start the base of our risotto. So I'm just gonna dice it, try and get our onion roughly the same size as a grain of rice, which I know is small. So do it nice and slowly. Keep your fingers tucked in so you don't cut them, which probably means I'll cut myself now. Actually, I almost forgot one of the first steps. We want to get our stock hot first. So into a hot pan, we want to bring our stock up to the boil and then drop it back to the simmer. One of the key things to making risotto is to add your stock in to your rice hot so it can absorb it quicker. We get that nice creamy rice. 2 litres of chicken stock. I'm gonna make a big batch of risotto because I've got some hungry friends here today cooking dinner for the whole crew. Now, while that boils, we're gonna cook our sofrito. So, gonna go into our pan with a little bit of our olive oil and also just a little bit of butter. It's about 40 grams. We use the butter to add a real richness. The reason I've got half olive oil and half butter, the olive oil helps stop the butter from burning. I'm also gonna add in some diced celery, and that's the same size as that onion, nice and fine. And I'm also gonna chuck in some garlic now. So this is our sofrito, which is the base of our risotto. Some people would add carrots here as well, but I wanna keep it nice and green and one color. So we're gonna leave the carrots out. Just nice and thinly sliced garlic. Now, the most important ingredient of a risotto has to be the rice. It's all about the type of rice that you use. There's a couple of varieties that are great for risotto. I'm gonna use this one, which is the arborio. And we can see there, it's quite a small, flat grain of rice, and it's quite round. It's also got lots of starch in it, and what that'll do is thicken up the sauce and make your risotto really nice and creamy. So I'm gonna show you a pretty cool trick of how to measure out the rice for your risotto. I learned this from a mate's nonna a while ago, and ever since then, I've always wanted to have a nonna. So if there's any Italian girls out there that want to marry me so I can have their nonna as part of my life, then give me a call, or not. Either way, this is how you work out how much rice you need for risotto. So 1 handful per person is a perfect way to measure it. I think we're going to make about 5 of us here today, so I'm going to do 5. So 5 handfuls of rice. Now I think that's probably about half a cup of rice per person, but I really like that sort of old Italian way of measuring it with a handful. It's kind of cool, a little bit romantic. And now I'm going to fry the rice off in the oil, and that's going to help get the starches going. And we want to do this for about a minute, and then we're going to start going in with our stock. So our rice is nicely toasted off. Now we need to add a secret ingredient, just a little bit of vino. Got some Pinot Gris here. Gonna do about a cup in there, or half a cup. Probably do about half a cup in here as well. It's very important when making a risotto or cooking with any wine that you have a taste of the wine as well. Give it a good drink. So I'm gonna stir this in now and try and absorb all that wine. So we're gonna cook it down till the rice sucks up all the wine. The alcohol's gonna cook off. It's kind of good, I can sit here and sip while we stir. It's perfect. So you can see in here that we've cooked off all the wine and the rice has sucked it up, and now it's time to start transferring our hot stock into our pot. So we're gonna go about a ladle at a time, ladle and a half. Now the great thing about risotto is the rice tells you when it needs more stock, and so it sort of guides you through the whole cook process. So we're gonna keep stirring, and once all the water's absorbed and the rice has sucked it all up, we need to add another ladle. And we keep doing that until you can't soak up any more water. The thing that you have to do is not walk away from this now. If you were to walk away and leave this, you might come back and have all your risotto burnt and all that hard work will be for nothing. So have your trusty wine with you. Just keep stirring that pot. This takes a while, but it's definitely worth it. So the key for me to cooking a risotto is to keep your temperature pretty stable, and you never want a harsh boil when you add your stock in. You just want it to keep bubbling, like you can see here, just little baby bubbles the whole time, just above a simmer. Rather than it being really hot, add the stock in, steams off really quickly, because you're gonna lose a lot of your stock off in the steam, rather than it soaking up into the rice. So you just gotta keep stirring and sipping until it's ready. So our risotto is getting closer to being cooked. I can see it's taking longer to absorb the liquid. So now I'm gonna do a couple of little things that I add to my risotto to really lift it up. First, it's the asparagus. So I'm gonna cut them into nice small little discs. I just want little bites of asparagus in my risotto. I don't want big pieces. And the other thing I do, I'm gonna add some peas, but I'm gonna add them in a bit of a different way. So I'm gonna take a couple out, put them on top with my asparagus, and the rest I'm gonna put into my jug here, and I'm gonna blitz them with some cream, which I add into our risotto, fold through, and it gives it a nice creamy richness and also a nice green color. It's all about spring and freshness. So just with the bar mix, just gonna blitz until all my peas are pureed and you get a nice green paste. There we go there. So I'm gonna fold this through my risotto right at the end. I'm gonna add in my asparagus and peas, and the heat of the rice will cook the asparagus and just warm those peas through. Now you could eat this just like that, so you've got the nice peas and asparagus in there. But I'm gonna add this cream through just to richen it up. I'm also gonna add a little bit of butter. So my cream peas can go in, and I'm gonna turn the heat off. Our risotto's finished cooking. We're just gonna fold these peas through. It's gonna give it a nice bright green color to our risotto. And then, because it's a risotto, it's a special dish, just a little bit of butter at the end to melt through and warm it up. Now, just grate in some Parmesan. Just like a handful. I don't want too much cheese in there, it's pretty rich already. So this is my risotto finished, and now it's time to plate up. Serve it in a nice big bowl. This is what's important for me about plating up a risotto. It's when you put it into the bowl that the risotto spreads. It doesn't just pile up in a big cheesy heap. And if you do this and you just tap it, it flattens out. And for me, that means you cook the risotto right. It's nice and creamy. And then, this is definitely not traditional and it will probably not get me a nonna, but I'm gonna add some feta cheese. And then I'm not gonna add any more Parmesan, just on some lemon, and there we have it. Now I need to try this because I'm pretty happy about this one. Tell you what, if you can make a risotto that good, you don't even need a nonna. I mean, I still want one, but you don't need one.